I'm Jim from Come Play With Us, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing Mind Management, the Psychic Espionage game. This is a game for 1 to 4 players, plays about 45 minutes, and is a 1 versus many game. I'm not going to be doing an overview of this game as usual. I do have a playthrough that I did on the channel. You can check that out. I'll link to that in the show notes below, so if you want an overview of how the game plays, you can go watch that, and I explain how the game plays. So I'll start with talking about the components for this game. I do have the retail version of this game. There is a deluxe version of the game. I believe the deluxe version comes in a fancier box with like fancier player trays and stuff, and that has wooden components instead of the cardboard standees for these kind of things. And a little bit better components, but for the retail version, which comes in at about half the price, I think the components for this are just fine. The art is really nice. I've never. This is based on a graphic novel that I've not read, so I'm not sure how close to the graphic novel, but I think they've got the same artist from the graphic novel, so the art is all from the novel, and it kind of fits that. So if the art looks odd to you or whatever, it's because it's from a graphic novel, but I do like this art. It might be a bit divisive, because it's not typical art, or it's kind of different. It has its own style, but I really like it. It really stands out to me, and it kind of fits the theme of this game. Component wise, the components are very functional. Like I said, this is a 1 versus many game, so there'll be players playing versus a hidden character. It's a hidden movement game. And so the components work very well for that. You have 2 different colored standees. I like that touched to make the standees stand out a bit more from each other, from the hidden players agents versus the player agents, and then the hidden players, they're called the immortals. They also have this kind of skull background to kind of differentiate that. So I like that. It makes it easy to spot whose characters are who. The symbology on the game, I find it fairly easy to read. It's one thing I would pick about. So on the cards, so the way this game works is the hidden player will be trying to stop at. He'll have three of these cards that have symbols from the boards on them, and he's trying to stop at those spaces to pick up agents. So the symbols on the boards, they stand out okay. When I first started playing this, I didn't quite recognize what all the symbols were. I mean, the anything basically with color on the squares is one of the symbols, and they're also hard to pick out on. So these are the cards the hidden character gets, and on these cards, I find it is a little difficult to pick out what the symbol is that you're looking for, but you can recognize it because it will match the board symbol. I get that they're trying to incorporate the art, and so that art style, which is really cool and immerses you in the theme, works against it a little bit while you're getting used to the game. But after a couple of plays, the art kind of blends into the background, and you recognize the symbols, and that kind of issue goes away. So sometimes it's at the beginning, I think it's going to be a little hard to read for new players, but you'll figure it out soon, and that problem will kind of go away. I do like all the little extra flourishes in the game that fit that espionage theme. There's all little hidden messages. I mean, the box cover, has a skull on it that and hidden messages and stuff, that come up from when you move it. So I think that's really cool. And even in the box liner and stuff, there's all little hidden messages everywhere. So that really helps bring the theme out in the game. You're always kind of seeing noticing little things that you didn't see before, and that's kind of cool. I really love these little tokens that you can use a dry erase marker on to kind of mark progression. There are clues and stuff on the board, and the fact that I really like the way this component works. That you can put these white ones down to kind of like, oh, I think this is that, and when you confirm things, you can flip it over, and then those are like confirmed sightings and stuff like that. So that works really well. It really helps you. With the clues on the board, and kind of figure out where the hidden character is. I really love these tokens and how they work in combination with these footsteps. So kind of the way it works, when the hidden player has to give you clues, they put a footstep down, and then you can put, but you don't know when they've been there, and you can kind of guess at that, and then you can ask, you can go to these footsteps and reveal, and you'll swap them out and with this, and that'll tell when you've been there. So really neat how those components work. The component, like I said, the components work really well for that. And it's the first time I've seen that kind of thing in a hidden movement game. I've not played many hidden movement games. I've only played Scotland Yard and Fury Dracula, but I thought that was a nice innovation. As far as I'm concerned, I've not seen that before. And the dry erase player board is good. That works fine. So it's nothing fancy, but it's all got extra art on it and stuff. Like I really do appreciate all the little extra art. Like the back of the game board has a comic on it too, so there's lots of little extra touches like that that are really cool. And the player screen here, it's got a lot of art on it, and it's really neat. So I like all those. I like all those extra touches. Things they didn't have to do, but they did, and to bring out the theme, it's really nice. And the cards are good stock and everything. I would say. I mean, you're not really shuffling the cards that much or handling them or anything, so you probably don't need to sleeve them. But as I like to sleeve my cards, so mine are sleeved, but I don't think it's a necessity. They're good quality. So there's not much else to say about the components. I think, for the retail version, I think they're very good. Nothing really to complain about. I guess the one thing is I thought this player marker token, I guess the way it was packed in the box, it was actually mixed. You get these, they have the shift system in here, which I'll talk about, but you get these little hidden boxes with hidden components that you have to open up. And this actually got stuck in there somewhere, so I thought I didn't, that it wasn't in my box, but it actually was. So maybe they would pack that a little better so it didn't get lost in my components, but mine are great. Okay, so let's talk a bit about the mechanics then. So this is, like I said, this is a hidden movement game. So you have one player, typically, who will be the hidden player, and they'll track their progress on this map, and then the other players, are kind of looking for them. The way the goal of the hidden player is to recruit a certain number of agents before the agents the players can find him, or if the time runs out. So those are kind of two ways the hidden player can win, and the agents are just trying to find the hidden player before he finishes his recruiting. And at the hidden player will draw 3 cards at the start, which have symbols on it that he's going for, and that's how he does his recruiting. He's got to move through spaces with the symbols he's looking for. And so the player characters are kind of deducing, going to spaces and asking the hidden character about, if he's visited any spaces with symbols from the board, and then you kind of try to narrow down which symbols he's looking for. That's kind of the gist of that. I should have mentioned there's two play modes in this game. There's the kind of training game, or I would call it almost a family kind of game, and then the full game, which is more complicated, which I would say is more gamer focused game. So in the family game, that's all it's all about. Just the hidden character moving around trying to collect symbols, and the players trying to find him. When you move on to the full game, that adds in these immortal characters that the hidden player can control. So these, there'll be 4 of them. They'll be on the board, and the hidden player can move these guys around, and they get in the player's way, and they also allow the hidden player to recruit extra agents by going to certain symbols. They'll have 2 symbols at all times that they can recruit, and the players get to see those, and so that the counterbalance to that is that players will be able to narrow down the symbols that the hidden player is looking for by knowing what the immortals can go after. So I really like that. I like that extra level of complexity. I think that makes the game far more interesting. And I like that they split those 2 games. So you can play the basic game with kind of your non-gamer friends or family or something, who might not be interested in too much complexity. And the game is still really good that way, the simple way. Or you can, add all the extra stuff in, the player powers. There's cards and stuff, and the immortals that ramps up the complexity of the game and makes it more interesting for kind of more gamer type players, and I like that you have the two options there, and they both work really well. That's about it for mechanics. I mean, yeah, so it's pretty straightforward game that's very quick to learn and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't. I think the mechanics are quite smooth and easy to learn. Um, okay, so what's not to like about this game? Yeah, it's hard to put a finger. I mean, if you don't like hidden movement, obviously you're not going to like this game. Although they do the other really neat thing is they do include a free app that you can download that will play the hidden character for you. So if you don't like one versus many games, or you don't want somebody to have one person run the hidden player, you can play this fully cooperatively, and the app will run the hidden movement part against you, and you can just play a cooperative as a player is trying to figure out where the hidden player goes, and you can play that in both modes, just the regular mode and the advanced mode. So that's really cool, and it will even track the campaign progression, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Um, yeah, so even if you don't like a one versus many, but you want to try hidden movement, the app will let you do that. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, beyond that, I don't really know much else that's not to like. There's not really many things I can see here not liking, like besides if you don't like hidden movement, obviously. But if you like hidden movement games, this is the best one I have played so far. So what do I like about this game? Pretty much everything. I've already mentioned, I like that there's an easy kind of mode. They call it the training mode, but I would call it kind of the light streamlined mode, and then there's a more complicated mode that has which they call the full rules. I like that I have both of those options, so that I can play with different types of group and different types of people, and I think they all enjoy this. Um, this is the best hidden movement game I have ever played. Now, I've only played the two, like I said. I played Scotland Yard, which I loved as a kid, and I still think it was a pretty solid game. And I used to have Fury of Dracula, which I also really enjoyed. But the problem I had with Fury of Dracula was I thought it was just too complex. I couldn't get it to the table because it wasn't just a hidden movement game. It was, you had to find Dracula and then defeat him, and then he could attack you, and it had all that complexity on top of that. This is just a pure hidden movement game, and I like that they've distilled it down to just that, and it just works so well. It's so neat, the system, how it works. Um, how you narrow down where the hidden player is. I mean, the hidden player can't normally backtrack, so you can kind of paint him into a corner, and he's got a couple of one-time abilities that he can use during the game that he can kind of get out of that corner, but when he uses that, he has to tell you he uses it. So really, really cool mechanics. Everything really works well together. Yeah, a very enjoyable game. I also really love the app. The app works really well, and that allows you to play a hidden movement game as co-op and even solo, which is awesome. So I can play, if you got nobody to play with, because these games I find they're a little harder to get to the table. So the fact that I can play it solo means it'll get way more plays. And like I said, cooperatively, if you don't want to have that one versus many, or nobody wants to play the hidden player, that's awesome. And Yeah, and then because it's so simple, like even if you're playing 2 player or 3 player, playing four character, you have to always play the 4 characters, no matter what the player count. But they're so easy. The rules are so streamlined that it's no problem running 4 characters. Very simple. Um, so even like 2 player head to head is pretty good. So yeah, all works really well. I really love it. And then on top of all those things, they have this shift system that they've introduced. So they have a whole bunch of these little boxes in the game that have hidden components, and after every game, whoever loses gets to open one of these boxes, and they get some new components that will kind of give them a little bit of an edge in the next game, so that it kind of counterbalances, the game, to make it a little easier for the whatever faction lost next game, and it keeps going back and forth. So it'll kind of continually be rebalancing. That is awesome. Not only does that kind of help when if you've got an unbalanced, like maybe you've got a new player versus somebody who's played it a while, so it'll help balance that out. The other thing is it keeps the game fresh because it'll be adding new components, some neat things you might want to. You get to. I always like games that reveal hidden components because it keeps freshening up and it gives you that kind of more of a goal to play the game more, because you want to see those things. And then also, as you add more pieces, the game's going to get more complex. So it's introducing the extra complexity over time, and I like that as well because they can make the game as complex as they want, but as if you introduce it slowly, then there's no steep learning curve. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to say about this game. Final score for this one, I'm giving this an 8.5. I really like this game. This one is going to stay in my collection. This will be my hidden movement game, go-to hidden movement game. It's right now it's the only one in my collection. Like I said, I always had a tough time getting those to the table. So I think that I won't have a problem with that with this one, especially I can play it solo. So yeah, really great game. They knocked it out of the park with this one. That makes me kind of interested to try some of their other games. As usual, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.